Hi, I'm Mara Webster with In Creative Company, and so thrilled to be welcoming back our guest Samuel Arnold to talk more about Netflix's Emily in Paris for season two. And I love that idea of going back into a show and a character that you've had so much time to spend with already. And particularly in watching season two, there's really a lot more opportunity to explore different facets of Julian as a character. We get to learn a lot more about him. We get to see him outside of the workplace so much. And so for you, what was the difference in how you were preparing with the scripts and coming back to the second season with that familiarity that you had with him and having had the opportunity to already play him for a whole season?
Well, obviously, the fact that I had the chance to play this character already for a full season at first gave me way more confidence and put me in a place where it was not about founding the character anymore, but trying to bring him as far as I could during this new season. And also, I felt like the purpose of my character, but not only my character, but all the others were to present the character of Emily in season one. But on season two, we got the opportunity to dive into the personal life of those secondary characters, like Julian, and yeah, to explore a bit more of their, personalities and what they do on their own time and stuff.
And did that also help when it came to a lot of the great ensemble scenes and you're playing scenes with characters like Sylvie and with Luke, where you also, for your character, know a lot more about them and their personality from the scripts, giving us background on them as well? Was that a useful thing for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100 times. Like the fact, like we spent, like I said before, we spent like a full season together, and we got to discover each and everyone's characters. So yeah, it makes it easier then to go on a season two and relate with those characters and have those moments and makes it as real as possible. Yeah, it was just nice.
And with the second season, do you feel like there was even more opportunity to come to the table with more ideas of Julian, how you wanted to play a particular scene and certain choices you wanted to make for him? Just because you're coming back, you're working with the same creative team, and they know that you know him so intimately as well now.
I really felt very lucky on that production because like I feel like the creative team really, really trusted us with our characters and gave us control of whatever we wanted to explore and whatever we wanted to try. So yeah, I got the opportunities to try out stuff and yeah, just express myself as an actor, but not only as an actor, but as an artist as well and a storyteller. And I think that is the best way to work as an actor, and the creative team made that possible.
It is. And I was also really interested because, when you're building a character and you look at Julian in season one, where we learned who he was in the workplace, obviously you come up with backstory, you come up with details like where did he grow up, who are his family, what does he do at the weekends. And when you got the scripts for this season and it was giving you some more of that information, did it match what you had come up with for him? And was it kind of an extension on what you had already built?
I wouldn't say that it matched it, but it did not. It was not the opposite, So, like you said, it was an extension of what I've already came up with. So it really made sense, which was great because, like, if it was totally different, I would like something is wrong. Something would have been wrong with my work, but no, yeah, it was definitely an extension of the thing that I've came up with in my head while working on the character.
And obviously, one of the things that people love about your character is his sarcasm, his sense of humor, his wit. Did you find that there was even more of an opportunity to really play around with his comedic sensibility as a character? Because again, there's just that comfort level with it, and especially because the other cast kind of know what you're likely to come back with comedically as well.
Yeah, I feel like we've established that. I feel like we've established that Julien is one of those character, or one of those guy in a friend groups that, is the only one allowed to say whatever and do whatever, and he's gonna get away with it because like everybody gonna say, oh, that's the way it is, that's the way he is. So yeah, that was the feeling coming back in season two. Like every time Julian would say something nasty or sarcastic or being the diva he is, it, it will slide because that's Julian. It's okay. You can say whatever. That's a good position to be in. That's a good position to be in.
It is. Did you find that there were some scenes where you got to play that a little bit differently, where he is still, saying all the things that everybody's thinking that everybody wishes they could say out loud, but with it coming from a bit more place of heart and love. The first season when he was saying certain comments to Emily, it was coming from a place of jealousy, from competition, from not being close to her, and then some of the remarks that he makes towards her this season, do come from a place of love and affection, like the argument they have where he's like, "Oh, I guess you're not going to invite me to your birthday party anymore. I'm being disinvited." And she's like, "No, I'm not." And it's an argument, but at the same time they're saying, "But you're still my
Yeah,
friend."
yeah, that's true. I mean, like Julian is like a proud, very, very proud baby with like his heart on his face. Like you can literally see everything that he feels on his face. Like he's an open book. So even though he can be jealous and envy people and be angry at Emily, for example, if he loves you, you're gonna see it anyway, even if you have an argument with him. And I think it's so nice to play those kind of characters that are playing the bad guys, but are allowed to create empathy, so the audience still love them. You know what I mean?
I also love the moment where he realizes that he's missed all the drama that's gone on at her birthday party. And you can tell he's so disappointed. For you, is he someone who is very magnetized and very attracted to the drama and kind of always seeking it out a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. I think I know those kind of people. Like they like when things are happening. They don't want to be bored. So whatever is the nature of the event, they need to be a part of, or they need to know everything about it. And Junior is one of them.
But even though he doesn't get to go to the party because he's prioritizing something that he needs to take care of at work, you get that sense like he wanted to be there, and he comes across as someone who's incredibly loyal. And so how does that inform a lot of the relationships? I feel like we get to kind of see that with him and Emily now, but you've also always gotten to really express that with like Sylvie and with Luke in the office, the loyalty that he has to the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, like I think this is literally at the core of this company, Savoir, the loyalty. Like they really, 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 really all trust each other, and even though on the surface they're like very tough and sarcastic, and like Sylvie is very cold, and Luke is a bit like on the moon and stuff. But when it comes down to it, they can really, really rely on each other. And Emily comes into it, and she's just welcomed to join this kind of brotherhood, sisterhood, sourhood thing.
So worried. Right, even down to the fact that they're now going off and branching off and starting a new company and they want Emily to join, but there's the detail that they didn't tell her because they knew that she would try to resolve everything and try to fix everything. And how did you want to play the scenes where they all know, the audience doesn't know yet, but you kind of know that they've already decided that they're going to make this decision and they're going to branch out, and they're keeping the secret from her at the time?
So, like, the feeling that I had was that because we are all loyal to one another, I mean, it's a big thing. We can't like we can't keep this away from one of our team. And Emily was at that point was definitely part of the team. But like you said earlier, if she knows she's too good, she's gonna mess up our plan. So, there is this feeling of, oh, I feel very bad to keep her out of the loop, but at the same time, that's a necessary evil that we have to do to achieve our plan.
Yeah, we also got so much more opportunity to see Julian kind of rising up and taking on more responsibility at work, and what it meant to him to get his first pitch. And so when you saw that script where he was going to get the opportunity to pitch to a client, and got to see, this is what he's put together creatively, kind of what did that tell you about him as a character with a little bit more detail when you saw what his ideas were and how he was taking it so seriously, where he was turning down plans because he wants to dedicate everything and all of his time to making sure it's perfect?
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like it just shows the way he works, just shows how dedicated and perfectionist he is about everything. Like we could see that at first with the way he dresses. It's just perfect every single time. I don't think he's going to the grocery wearing something else than perfect outfit, you know what I mean? So, and you can see it in the way he works, and you can also see it in the way he's disappointed when his work does not bear the fruits that he was expecting, you know what I mean? And yeah, it just shows that he's a very, very hard and good worker, and it just explains why he's here. Because like in season one, people were asking me, what is Julian's job? He's just like gossiping. What is he doing actually in the office? And I mean, like, yeah, he just proved in season two that he's an actual asset and that he's got resources.
Yeah. Did you think that some of the competitiveness that he has with Emily is actually coming from the fact that he puts very high standards on himself and he puts a lot of pressure on himself? And so when he feels like he's not having the success or winning for himself, that it was kind of manifested in some of that competitive with Emily?
I think that it comes from many things. I think that he's honestly was very, very jealous of Emily the first time he saw her because like she had all this color swag and stuff, and he's supposed to be the one in the office to be this bright, the bright creature, and she is literally his yeah, she's like stealing his spot, literally, and he hates it, but at the same time, she's good. He has to respect that. She's lovely. She's genuine. She's a nice person. She's loyal. She's got all the quality that, you know, Julian respects. So he has to respect that, you know, at the same time. But then when she comes and do better than him, uh, this jealousy resurface, and it puts him as well in front of the fact that even though he's good, it doesn't mean that he's going to be enough all the time.
Yeah. And you were mentioning his outfits a moment ago, which obviously people absolutely love the costumes that he gets to wear throughout the series. Are there any particular costumes or outfits that he wore in this season that for you really kind of tapped into the way that he wants to express himself and the message that he wants to communicate to the world about who he is through the clothes that he wears because he's so expressive with them?
Well, we really, really, really had the best time working on the outfits with the team, um, because like they really, really tried to make sense of what Julien was wearing when. For example, like at Versailles, we spoke about it, and we really wanted to make it a Versailles theme, you know, costume. So we added, you know, kings like French kings like you know, garments on the suits and everything, and we kept it very modern and colorful, like Julian would do. At the birthday party, he was supposed to arrive, you know, bearing flowers, but on his suits. You know what I mean? Like everything was very thought through and very detailed. Like the amount of work the team, Patricia Field and they really, 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 really put a lot of work towards the costumes.
And you mentioned that one of your favorite scenes to film this season was the one where they're all on the boat for the jewelry client. You know, and it's a great one as well because it's just one of those ensemble moments where we really get to see all of the characters coming together. And so, what were your favorite elements of shooting that scene all together?
You mean the scene on the boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like to be honest, I'm just gonna be honest here. The best thing about the shoot on the boat was just the fact that we are all together, like just having fun on the boat. You know, I mean, the actors, you know, you just put like a bunch of kids on the boat during an entire night in Paris with the Eiffel Tower in the background. And yeah, you just have fun all night. And we had to shoot sometimes as well because, you know, we had a series to do, but we had fun, a lot of fun behind the scenes.
It was also really fun getting to see the romantic side and the personal life of Julian coming into the scripts as well. You know, and starting with when he has a bit of a crush on Mindy's bandmate, I feel like we got to see some vulnerability in him that we hadn't seen before. And so, what was that like for you getting to really explore that different side that you hadn't had the opportunity to play as much within him as a character in the first season?
That was actually very nice because I wasn't told if Julien was heterosexual or homosexual or bi or whatever. I wasn't told, so I did not um, did my work towards this sexuality. I just left it away, you know, and just focused on characteristic like flamboyant and dramatic and whatever. So it was first of all very nice to know what was his taste, what you prefer, and and it was very nice as well to see that part of him, because he's always on top of things and always, he's always the one looking down on people. Yeah, and this time he was the one, like you said, in a very shameful situation. Like he really liked this guy, and it's a shame this guy was not into him at all.
You also have said that you feel like as a character, he's someone who's a little bit of a player and likes to kind of flirt around and see what the situation is. When did you kind of determine or decide that that was part of him?
I think that was just me who decided that. That was me who decided that. I think that just felt like the way he is in his body, the way he's free, and the way he moves. I think like there is some sensuality about him, and yeah, I just think that if you put Julia in a club, like he's just gonna get some numbers for sure.
And we got to see one of the clubs that he went to, that
Yeah.
he goes frequents at the weekends when he takes Emily there. What was that like, kind of shooting in that location and seeing that as a space of like, okay, this is one of the places that he goes when he's got his free time. This
Yeah.
is how he spends some of his personal time.
Well, that was to me, Samuel. That was very educational. Like, I had never been in a place like that before, so that was crazy. That was very fun, and it's always nice to change a scenery so drastically. We spend so much time at the office or in the Paris streets. To be in a club with like naked dancers everywhere and stuff. Like, it's pretty fun and funny. Like that was cool to shoot. And I mean, Emily is just Lily is just fun to work with. So we had a lot of fun doing this scene.
And you were talking a moment ago about the freedom of movement that you bring to your performance with him as a character, which I love, and I feel like that really harkens back to your dance experience because you were an incredibly experienced dancer before you stepped into acting, even. And what's that like going into scenes and playing a character that has such freedom with his body and really just knowing that you can kind of take a scene anywhere? Are you coming up with what you think the movement will be before you film a scene, or is it about going into the moment and really just feeling where it's going to go in the moment?
Um, I'd say it depends. I'd say it depends. Sometimes, there is like sometimes you plan things because it's just too good. It's just gonna look so cool. You cannot not do that. But most of the time you try to respond on the moment, try to be in the moment. And if it works, you repeat what you did, unless you found something better. But yeah, it really depends on the scene. It really depends on the scene. So what I would say again is like if you feel like there is something very cool that you cannot, not do,
Yeah.
then yeah, you kind of plan it, but most of the time you don't.
Yeah. And the dialogue within the scripts obviously dances between French and English, and it does it in an incredibly naturalistic way that when you speak two languages, sometimes you don't notice when you've gone into the other language and you kind of go back and forth even within the odd sentence. Are the scripts written knowing exactly, where French is going to be spoken, where English is going to be spoken, or is there a little bit of fluidity to play around with it sometimes in scenes?
I think that some of the cast member that speak French um, used, the French language here and there, but by their own, the way they felt it would work, and it worked well. But mainly the script was already written. They all actually knew French and when was going to speak English. And I think when you watch the series, people speak French when they're with French people in real life, and they start to speak English when there is an English speaker in the room.
And obviously the show is showing us Paris through the perspective of Emily, through someone that's coming into the city for the first time. And you've even talked a little bit about how growing up in Paris yourself, there's kind of this opportunity for someone who knows Paris so well to step back and to see the city in a different way through the fact that there's so many of the cast, there's crew members coming over who are experiencing the city for the first time. So they're going to different places and doing different things that maybe you would do after being there for so long. And so what are the things that you feel that you've really had the opportunity to rediscover, or different sides of the city that you view differently now from the experience of working on the show with everybody?
Well, basically, it's just like hanging out in places that I wouldn't before, like and going to restaurants and clubs and just stuff that I wouldn't before, like going to touristic areas or some museum that I just wouldn't go there. Not because I don't want to, but it's just because I live here. It's there, like it's part of the. It's like I don't see it. You know what I mean? That I always say, and that's what I think. I mean, anyone can disagree, but I will always think that tourists knows the cities better than people that live in it. And that's the way I felt when we did Emily in Paris. I felt like everybody else knew Paris better than I did.
Yeah. And from working on the show for 2 seasons now, what are the things that you feel that you really learned from playing this character and working on season 2 of Emily in Paris?
I think like the main thing that I'm learning from these characters just to speak up, and having a voice and not keeping it quiet. Honestly, like that's the main thing that I'm learning from this character because he is loud. He's loud in every ways. So yeah, I'm trying to take some notes from him.
Trying to be a little bit more Julian.
Yeah, a little bit though.
Well, I really loved the second season and everything that you brought to this character. Thank you so much, Samuel. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me. Thanks a lot.